Chattisfying.
I think we can move on then, because we've kind of naturally started talking about our topic for the show, which is all about social media. Sort of the merits of it from the perspective of a streamer or someone who makes YouTube videos or TikTok videos, such as us and you, hopefully,
and obviously the king right there.
Yeah, hail to the king, baby.
The week.
Well, let's ask your opinion then, Virtute. So we'll segue nice and smoothly into segment 2, where we talk about the topic of the show, which is all about how you feel about as a content creator, social media. So what's your thoughts?
Burn it down. Get rid of it. Get rid of social media. It's not good for humanity. It's not good for us as a, it's all based around trying to feed people dopamine so they stay on the.
If you could just keep Facebook up and look at your 2012
sites.
pictures, that would be great, because I really enjoy Ibiza 2012 photo album. That's really
that's
good.
fine. I will keep Ibiza 2012 photo album on there because that's when I shaved especially for you. But
especially for you.
My face was hairy, but the rest of me was like a smooth otter. And I was aerodynamic. I just shot through those Ibethan waters into your very well-stocked,
come on, keep it coming.
well-stocked bed. I don't know where I was going with this. Smooth otter. Yeah,
from the perspective
from like the perspective of a streamer, like I have really mixed feelings about it. Like I think that in some ways it's obviously very necessary because say if you're a content creator, you're making a conversation with people and you're a streamer specifically, so you're having a conversation with your audience, you're making something that your audience tune into. But then when you're not streaming, that conversation stops without social media. So you need to have something to kind of bring your audience somewhere else, and it makes sense to diversify your audience in some way. Like you need to not only be able to continue the conversation with people or continue giving them whatever you want to give them to make them entertaining, or make them entertained rather than be entertaining. So like that makes sense to have. And it's also, if you did have, you went all in on Twitch, right? And your Twitch account was like 500,000 followers, and then Twitch bans you. For something that happened on your stream that was out of your control. Like someone in a multiplayer game said something that that got your channel banned, or something happened. Like it does happen to people. Like often they get their channel back, but sometimes there are people that just end up in a situation where their platform is taken away from them and they don't have any way to communicate with their audience otherwise what's happened. And it makes sense to have something else to be able to kind of unite your audience. And if you did move from Twitch to YouTube or Facebook or whatever, I don't know why anyone would move to Facebook, but any streaming platform, then you have that place to be able to communicate that. Like otherwise you're just keeping all your communications in one platform. And in Twitch's case, we aren't given that many tools to talk to our audience outside of streams. You can email your subscribers, which I feel is a little, like, some people do it really well, but you can do it too much and it's a bit obnoxious. And also the obnoxious thing is that if someone gets gifted a sub that they don't want, then they suddenly start getting emails from this person. It's not like there used to be like a kind of messaging function on Twitch where you could have like a feed on your profile, and they got rid of that for some reason, where you could put like your schedule information or whatever you wanted to do. You could have like a Twitter like feed alongside your Twitch, but they got rid of that level of communication. So your main communication is when you're live, and then that's whether or not people get your notification and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know, I think that social media, or outside of Twitch, or outside of your streaming platform, social media is it has utility and it's useful in keeping that conversation going, but I don't think that say the Harris Heller advice, not that there's anything wrong with the advice per se of like grow your platform off Twitch and then bring it to Twitch. I don't think that's necessarily the best way. I think you should be growing on the place that you want people to watch you. You want people to think is your main thing.
Your base of operations, essentially.
Yeah, your base of operations. So there's plenty of people that will like go on Twitter as a streamer and grow a very successful feed on Twitter, but then when they go live on Twitch, like a handful of people show up out of their 150,000 followers or however many they have. And so it doesn't always work that way. Like that it makes sense in like a way where you can advertise to people, but that doesn't necessarily bring them over to your main base of operations. So I don't know. I got mixed feelings about it. I think that some social media sites are more useful than others. So I think the TikTok's quite useful because the content that people are receiving is video. And it's short form. They get you very quickly, and if you can communicate yourself in like a short space of time, then people are more likely to turn up for your streams. But at the same time, it's difficult when people are conditioned to watch 16-second videos or 1 minute long videos to get them to show up for an entire 5-hour live stream. It's a very, very different ask of them, and it's a very like each social media platform has to do the job of conditioning their audience to want to be on that platform. That's how they make money, that's how they serve people ads, that's where they want people. So if you're making friends on a or making followers on a site where the primary thing that they're getting is text on a screen, then they're gonna want to watch the text on the screen that they showed up to you for. Like, does that answer your question? Or was that too rambly and just kind of off on nowhere?
I just want to turn you into an audiobook so I can listen to you at night.
Oh, mate.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I'd like that. Can we start a petition?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Can we put a poll in his Discord?
Yeah, you can put it in the polls channel in Discord. That's fine.
So is that the conclusion of your thoughts on the subject?
I could talk about it for a very long time, but I feel like I'd just be talking circular. I'd just be going over the same points. It's kind of, I don't know, like in terms of like my personal experience, I've had some good times, like building up other social medias and had some people that have come along from other social media sites to the stream. But like I think that those people that kind of integrate into the audience are not as many as the people that I meet through Twitch. I think the people that I've met through Twitch are the people that I bond with the best and that stick to the stream the best. And that's because they're already stream watchers. They're already kind of accustomed to watching streams.
Yeah.
Like people that are on YouTube are generally on YouTube to watch videos. They're not as much into live streams. There are definitely, like, YouTube's growing live streaming, and it's a platform that's growing really well in the live streaming space, but they still have to change that that reason why people find themselves on YouTube to begin with. Like I'm very very rarely will watch a live stream on YouTube. If I'm going to YouTube, I'm going to watch a video. You know what I mean? Like that's where it is. But I think that social media, although it has a utility, is overvalued in terms of being a growth tool for streamers, and that people that stream that want to grow on Twitch should really look at how they can grow natively on Twitch. And the best way to do that is just to find places you can bring in more eyeballs and more clicks in the same way that you would on any platform.
Absolutely. So, Hippo, do you want to go next, or do you want me to go?
I'm happy to go next. It's not a problem at all. My issues with social media is again this whole, eggs in one basket versus eggs in every other basket. I don't feel like you need to use every social media platform to put yourself out there. I think the key thing as a content creator. There we go. That's a lovely smile. And but I think as a creator of some form, I think you should be comfortable with what you like doing. You know, I didn't start on Twitch. I started on YouTube. I started making World of Warcraft videos about lore and my funny bits of like random trivia and stuff like that. That's how I started off. And then I thought I'll give Twitch a go for one reason or another. And I quite enjoyed the live form content because as much as I enjoy writing scripts and editing and putting in my quips and thinking about my jokes, I also quite enjoy being the banterous bastard that I am. So sorry, I don't have a beat button either. So I apologize. So yeah. But I do Twitch for my live stuff, and it's my way to vent and hang out with my friends live. I consider Twitch for me to be my Skype call, but I can't see anyone else because they're too afraid to put their camera on mode. Is how I've always treated it. You know, my friends come in, they chat, I ask how their day is and all that kind of stuff. And it's a nice chill vibe for me. My YouTube, which I'm now revitalizing with a new channel, I'm doing my Let's Play series where I'm thinking about things, and it gives me, to be fair, doing editing is my therapy. I really love it. It's so calming for me. I thoroughly enjoy the reward from finally figuring out what clip bit goes here and this goes whoosh, and I make a whooshy noise, and I was like, yeah, I did this thing. It's pretty, you know. But then I predominantly also I got Instagram because this is your bedroom. I can see that, you cheeky git. This is definitely his bedroom. I'm going to be sniffing his bedding later. It's going to be amazing. But I use Instagram because sometimes I do some interesting things. Like I made the fake Lego Yoshi, and I made a Boba Fett head with Lego, and I wanted to show people what I made because I'm proud of what I made. I did it myself. I followed the instructions. I'm so proud. You know, and I think that's comfortable. I'm not pushing a reason for doing it. It's not. It's there because some people want to see what I do. Some people want to do this, and I'm quite happy to do these things. I don't feel it should be necessary for you to do them. You shouldn't have to make the 10-second YouTube shorts. You should do it because you enjoy doing it. Is the key thing. You're going to, if you're good in someone's eyes, you're going to grow. In my opinion, you know, if someone likes you, they're going to stick around for the most part, unless of course we're in the subject of like specific games like Final Fantasy where they're a dedicated audience or whatever, la 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 la. But you know, if you go on, I was
going to say, do you mind if I interject for a second? Which
Please
is
interject me.
You know, even though it depends on your like end game, if you're looking for growth, obviously like people that come along that enjoy the thing and enjoy what you're doing will stick around, and that's a thing. But at the same time, you have to be, if your goal is growth, you have to be in a place where people will find you to begin with. And there are, you know, like even if you do what you want, there are some people that will be doing what they love on Twitch but never grow, even if they're the most interesting person, because they don't get those clicks to begin with. Like,
that's true.
You know, the clicks drive the traffic. So
yeah, that's very true, but I still don't think that writing a tweet and hashtagging a random game is going to help for me.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, I don't find writing a Facebook page and getting people to follow my Facebook page, because I've got about just under 600 followers on my Facebook page from when I used to be a meme creator, because I was that kind of kid. Badass, yeah. I went viral once. Yeah, nice. I'm not, you know, I wasn't a creator of the week, but you know, it'll do. But you know, I don't think you should necessarily force yourself to do these things. I don't think those kind of social medias are epic. And he's vanished on me. Come back to me, darling. Thank you. Hello, welcome back to the room.
I know how you. No, yeah, I know how you did that. Sorry. Yeah,
I didn't do anything.
How did you do that? But no, it makes sense. Sorry.
Hold on.
But the problem is you could be doing the greatest thing on Twitch and not be found. You could do the same with YouTube, or you could do both and stretch yourself out and still not find anything. I think it's mainly luck more than anything else. What are you doing?
Don't worry. Don't look at what I'm doing.
My room?
Don't even look at what I'm doing. No. You do what you're doing. I'm just I just need to do something, right? There. That's
I can do that now if you want. I can do it.
No,
manually.
you can't do that. Only I can do that. It's Giolita said who can tilt the most pictures on their real wall? Well, clearly me. Look.
It fell on the floor.
Boom, bitch.
I've got to try and get that back up now at some point.
That's what she said.
Actually, I think I can one up
What have
some
we
more. Hold on.
become?
I'll be back.
No, just leave it there. That's so funny. Oh my god.
I can't deal with this pressure. I'm off. No, I'm not. I was about to walk off then, but I realized that if I want to walk off the screen in like the way that makes sense, I'd walk straight into a wall. Like it wouldn't work.
Peanut butter cups.
There's going to be like no continuity to the YouTube video. Oh god. Sorry, go on, Hippo. Try and pick up from where you left off if you can.
So I was 12 years old. Do you know, I only got this for a tenner. Someone decided to sell it because he made it for his wife and then got divorced, and he's like, I hate her, so I'm selling it. So I got it for a tenner.
Oh wow.
Just
this is surprisingly like the one that's in my room.
Oh, bless it. You're so adorable. I don't know. Anyway, social media bad, but I think it's the luck of the draw and getting the right times. Ultimately, I think it's difficult to grow on any content and on any platform. It really is. And I just feel like sometimes it's a lot of people are given the impression that you should do every platform. And I was under that illusion for a little while with the old Twitters and all that kind of stuff. And I realized I hated it. I don't know if you've noticed about me, but I like to talk a lot, and I feel like 140 characters is not enough.
Yeah. And it's also like I think with Twitter there's a huge amount of social pressure on Twitter specifically, like more than most other platforms. Like there's a lot of either like people dogpiling people, or there's like Twitter forces people into their little bubbles. Like you end up on streamer Twitter, or you end up in this like part of Twitter that specifically only ends up with your own kind of views, or your own interests pushed back at you constantly. Like there's less like diversity of I don't want to say content because I keep saying content. There's less like different opinions and different things going on, and it's very it feels very not good to me. It feels very toxic. Like whenever I'm on Twitter, it just feels like like the Stepford Wives of social media. Like you just go in and everything's just kind of like the same things being repeated and the same subjects, the same topics of conversation, and they're often like only tackled from one angle or tackled in a certain way, and I'm just like, it's just weird. It's just weird to me. It is hard to pop your own Twitter bubble, and I find that less on, I mean, like TikTok has its problems, but TikTok, when it comes to like the For You page and stuff like that, it kind of serves you stuff that you like, but it will constantly like prod you with different things, and it will, like it's in its best interest to show you all kinds of stuff. Twitter doesn't really do that as much. I don't necessarily think it should. I don't really see a world where Twitter is ever going to be a good thing. I think that like it makes less people happy, and makes less people like genuinely entertained as other places. Like whenever you see like Twitter gets marketed or gets talked about in a way of it being like doom scrolling. Like people will just scroll through like bad news after bad news after, like someone having a bad time with something, or someone said something that we don't agree with, or however, and I'm not trying to make like a value judgment from that, but it's often like a negative interaction with Twitter that keeps people on it. I don't think that's a good thing. I don't think it's good for people. I think that like it does depend on how you interact with it, and if you're putting out positive things, then like people will that are attracted to that will stick with it. But I think that the way that it conditions people not to do that. If it didn't do it that way, then it wouldn't be the way that most people see it. And it wouldn't be the impression that most people have from Twitter, which is all, like the kind of most commonly discussed way, which is, doom scrolling.
Yeah.
Which is not a happy thing. It's not a nice thing. We need less of that.
Doom scrolling sounds quite similar. I've never actually heard that term before myself, but it sounds quite similar to the reason why I avoid the news like the plague.
Yeah.
I refuse to watch the news because it's just bad. It's bad news. It's always bad news. Like to the degree where like you end up, you finish watching how long's the news normally on for? About 40 minutes. You're just depressed, man. Because there's never any good news. Most of it is completely irrelevant to me anyway. Oh, this person was murdered. I mean, that's horrible. But I didn't know them. And
yeah, I feel you.
It's to the point where I think in my early 20s I was like, I'm not watching it anymore, and I've still kept to it. I never watched the news, and I think that's quite similar to what you're talking about there, kind of doom scrolling. It's all just doom and gloom, and just people not really being that nice to each other quite a lot of the time.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you again, but what I was going to say is the other thing is like the way that bubbles work is say if you're a streamer on streamer TikTok, then most of the people that you're talking to are other streamers, and other streamers aren't as much interested in being in other people's streams as they are as promoting their own stream or like making their stream better or what have you. Like most people that view Twitch streams that are watchers of Twitch aren't on Twitter as much as they are on Twitter to keep up with those particular celebrities that they're already engaged with. So you aren't likely to find like the wider Twitch audience through Twitter. You might find a specific video game audience or something like that. So say if you're like, really into doing Call of Duty, then you can kind of engage with the Call of Duty community that are also open to watching Twitch streams sometimes by looking to talk to those people. And as Handy said in chat, like you can find like indie games and stuff like that for it, and that's cool. But yeah, you are generally, if you're looking at a thing, you're looking at an industry. So if you're looking at game dev Twitter, you're talking to game devs. If you're looking at streamer Twitter, that's mostly streamers, and it's mostly streamers talking to each other, just trying to promote themselves. And it's not the best way to spend your time if you're looking to like grow your audience.
Yeah. I mean,
there isn't viewer Twitter, Andy. It doesn't exist. Like it's not a thing. Like
it'd be kind of nice if there was, though, wouldn't it?
There's like Co-Carnage's viewer Twitter, or there's like Forzen's viewer Twitter, or like someone that's, or like XQC or someone like that. But they're specific people that are the audience of the streamer already, and you would have a much better time trying to make friends with that streamer somehow in their chats. If that was what you were looking to do, not going in there and being like, oh, I stream, watch me. But if you start talking to people in chat, then some people are likely to actually check you out and check your profile out. You're more likely to find people do that in a streamer's chat than you are on Twitter. For the most part, I would say. But I wouldn't really recommend either as being like a way to promote yourself. But
no,
if that's your strategy.
Yeah. I mean, I myself, I've never been good at social media. Like even back in, I don't know, like 2008, I think it was, when someone I went to college with, like, just wouldn't shut up about me joining Facebook. I wasn't going to join Facebook, and then they were like, "Yeah, join Facebook." Mellar, join Facebook, and eventually I was like, "Fine," and that's why I joined Facebook. And since then, I've probably posted. I mean, how long ago was that? 13 years ago. I've probably posted, I don't know, maybe 20 times in that time.
Well, you're not on MySpace.
I did have a MySpace.
MySpace was the bomb, man.
Exactly.
But I never actually posted on MySpace. All I did was make a rad front page for myself, and that was it.
Well, as long as you had your music, so when people went on your profile, they knew what you were about by music. That's all that matters.
Yeah, it was Slipknot and Enya.
I used to love going to gigs and like you'd see like scene looking people and you'd be like, don't I know you from MySpace? And they'd look like, oh my God, I'm MySpace famous. And you'd be like, no, I don't know you really. But you could tell the people that like were on MySpace to be seen, you know, like they had like the scene haircut or they you know, like dressed in such a way.
I really miss the old MySpace days. That and having an Angel Fire kind of website as well was another thing for me.
Angel Fire, I never even heard of that one.
I can go one step.
Fire was like a. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go.
I was just gonna say it's like a personal website kind of site, more on
it's like your own
media.
webpage, wasn't it? Essentially, is what it was. And then everyone used to use X-Fire for their gaming as well.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But if you want to go one step behind MySpace, I was on Bolt.com, which was...
I remember Bolt.com. You know what was really cool about Bolt.com was it had the forums attached to it.
It had the forums, the chat rooms, games, you had everything on it. It was an amazing website.
And the forums were just like the most toxic thing. You could go in there and you just see like people debating anything and you just be like, oh my God, this is insane. I just sat around in like the music chats and stuff. But
yeah, it was great. But then you still have like MSN chats as well. And I used to have a Moshers versus Townies room is what I used to be in all the time.
Oh my God, the MSN chat rooms when it was you could set up and there was like the search for it. I had a like a music room. I can't remember what it was called, but it was really well trafficked. Like there were always a lot of people in there. But mostly I think it was just people like bitching about music they didn't like. I think that's most of what the internet is. It's just, you know, people bitching about things they don't like and then being brought together by it.
Yeah, it was glorious. And I remember everyone having their own bots or the chat rooms and stuff like that. You still have random things. But then again, I remember going back onto FreeServe chat rooms as well. Those were back in my day as well. I used to love FreeServe chat rooms. Back when FreeServe was a decent internet provider on 56k modem.
I think FreeServe was my first internet provider. Back in the day.
Do you know what's quite interesting about that form of social media, like MSN chat rooms and MySpace, was when that was the only game in town, those sites didn't really have to worry about how to manipulate you or how to feed you dopamine. Like they were the only game, so you were on there anyway. Like if you want to talk to people online and be on a social network, you were on that one, and it didn't need to do anything to keep you there. You were just there. But now like these sites have so much competition there, and they have so much invested in psychology and how to make their audience either you know, more likely to click on their ads or more likely to spend time scrolling their site. Everything has to be just so, and everything has to be you know, in the same way that when you go in a supermarket, you know, everything's placed in a certain way so you're more likely to buy it, and there's just like all kinds of tricks to keep you on there. This was before they needed to trick us to keep us on there. We were just on there because it was fun. But then it just kind of, because we had too much freedom, they just got boring. Like you like MySpace back in the when, but eventually it got kind of awful because every site was just so or every page was just so insane with the amount of music that would play or animated GIFs or GIFs, and
it was maybe before memes were a thing. Essentially.
But it just became a really hard to navigate and hard to deal with site, and I think that's why Facebook really took it over, was because Facebook was, you know, no matter whose page you went on, it was a uniform experience. But with that becomes the control. That's when they get their claws into you and they start wanting to feed you ads and keep you on there.
Indeed.
I miss Bolt.com.
Where was I?
I'm sorry.
Me too. God, if we were live streaming on Bolt.com. Do you know what's really interesting as well is Bebo, the site Bebo, came back a couple of years ago as a Twitch, not a Twitch style site, but the name was used and the company was used to make it like an OBS type program.
Right.
And at one point there were loads of streamers that were kind of promoting people to use Bebo because they'd get paid $5 for everyone that installed them. So it was quite lucrative to get people to install Bebo. It didn't last very long, and it was basically like OBS, but OBS that served you ads and spied on your data. And then when that all came out, like people stopped using it. But at one point Bebo almost came back as being like an OBS or XSplit alternative, or being more like a Streamlabs OBS, where it was made for like newbie streamers. Bebo could have been a thing.
Again,
yeah.
Excellent. Where was I?
Your turn.
I think I was in the middle of something.
You don't
I
like
was
Facebook,
saying
but
how
you're forced
crap
on it.
I am, basically. I'm crap on
sorry,
social
mate.
media.
I didn't mean to.
That's all right. Some people are just good at social media. They know how to essentially market themselves. Some people I noticed when I was younger are just good at posting to Facebook every 5 minutes and all this kind of thing. And I never really cared about it, to be honest. I'd sometimes check Facebook back in the day, but I never really posted and all this kind of thing. And I started streaming, and I don't know why, but I was like, I should probably have a go at Twitter. So I had a go at Twitter. It took me a while to kind of get the hang of it, and I started getting the hang of it. I was like, I think I'm getting the hang of this now. I'll have a go with sort of posting a bit to Twitter. And I ended up just feeling really shit about it. And it's something that I've never really experienced before, because I've heard so many times about, how the whole, or you get a like on Facebook or something, and you get little endorphins in your brain and it feels good. But then if you don't get that next time, you're going to feel like shit. And I was like, I never really felt that. I never really cared. And I never thought I would care until I joined Twitter and I started feeling really shit about it. And I don't know why, because it's not the kind of person I am. I don't really care whether I get a load of likes on something or not. But my brain obviously cared, because I got to the point where I couldn't even open Twitter on my phone without just feeling this existential dread. And I hate it. And I've stopped really posting much on there. And I feel bad that I don't post on there, because now I've become one of those Twitter people that just post they're going live and their thank you. And that's basically all I do on Twitter at the moment. Every now and then when I'm bored.
Bad man, you know that, don't you?
What's that?
Virtue's a bad man.
Why? What's he doing?
Focus.
Nothing. My hands are up here.
He's doing a Doki Literature Club there, as you see. That's what they do in it in Doki Doki. It starts like twisting and turning all this very slowly. Anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah.
He could be my Yuri any day.
I feel a little bit bad about that, because I kind of, what's the point what's the point, basically? If all I'm going to use Twitter for is just go live, I may as well just not bother at all.
Yeah.
So,
I agree with you on that.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's kind of got to this point where I may as well not have it. But at the same time, I've definitely seen streamers do really well on Twitter, and then as a byproduct of that, do really well on Twitch. But I think you've got to have the right mindset. And when I say the right mindset, it's not getting yourself into the mindset. I think there's just a type of person that's really good at it. That's my opinion. I mean, you probably can teach yourself if you've got. I suppose you'd need a certain amount of sort of willpower, I suppose, to apply to it without going completely insane. And we've ended up talking about Twitter quite a lot. I mean, there's others. I mean, I've got an Instagram. I don't think I've ever done anything with it. I looked at it for about 10 minutes and I was like, wow, this is really overwhelming. And I never went back to it.
Yeah, Instagram's is an iffy one, because I wasn't sure what to do with it when I first got it. I generally had no clue at all. But then I just thought, do you know what? I'm just going to post random stuff.
Yeah.
It's just points of interest that I find interesting,
But at the end of the day, you got to decide why you're doing it. So I stream because I love streaming. It's so much fun. That's why I stream. I don't necessarily stream for growth. Obviously, if I get more followers or more people watching it, all the better. That's brilliant. That's fantastic. But it's not my focus. My focus is to go live, to hang out with people that I love, and mess about and play video games. Right. And Twitter doesn't make me happy. So it. I'm not going to do it. What's the point? If you want to stream and you're streaming for growth, then fair enough. You might want to have a look at it, or one of these other ones like YouTube or TikTok, like what Harris Heller is saying. You make your audience somewhere else, blah blah blah. Whether or not you agree with him is immaterial. But at the end of the day, I mean, there are so many people on there. Growth is difficult. Just as difficult, really, as it would be on Twitch in many ways. If you can find a niche, then that's great. If you can somehow get your audience from elsewhere to come to Twitch, which we've already discussed with previous guests, is incredibly difficult. We would sort of talk to Navelo, who's got 8,000 subscribers on YouTube. No, that was wrong. No, it was 8,000 followers on Twitch, wasn't it? and something ridiculous on YouTube. It was like 20,000 or something. And, you know, someone who's got enough people to be able to sort of say whether or not there is correlation. And he's like, no, they're pretty much separate entities. That's what he said. So I don't really see the point, to be honest. There's a lot of negativity out there that unless you really think you know what you're doing, you should probably just avoid, to be honest. Anyone who wants to, out of you two, wants to elaborate on that? Disagree? Agree?
No, I think I agree with you mostly. Like, when it comes to the whole Harris Heller point, let's call it, which is, you know, like you grow your platform somewhere else and then you move that audience to Twitch. I do think that you should make your audience as a live streamer if you want to be a live streamer. You shouldn't really think, oh, I'm going to, you know, because like it's not easy to grow on YouTube. It's not easy to just start a YouTube and then start growing as well. Like it's always presented in a way where it's like, it's easier to grow on these platforms. I've seen so many people put a very long amount of time into YouTube and not get anywhere. Like on YouTube, you really have to be thinking about what kind of utility are you providing to your audience. You have to make like tutorial content, or you have to find a niche within. So like one person I've seen recently has done really well on YouTube and doing awesomely. But his thing is that he's started playing more World of Warcraft, and he's like doing specific builds on World of Warcraft and talking about those builds and talking about how to. He's making like, you know, advisory content about World of Warcraft. He's not just doing what he would be doing on a live stream. So then, you know, it's not an easy thing to grow, and then it's not an easy thing, as you've said, to move that audience from one place to another. But at the same time, I mean, Harris, he, not to talk about him specifically too much, but he had a lot of trouble growing on Twitch until he started making advice content about streaming on YouTube, and then moved more people over to his Twitch because he became like an advice guy, and that obviously worked for him. But I think that he applies his experience to other people and thinks this is going to work for everyone, and then you end up with like a lot of people that dogmatically defend that position. They'll be like, no, there's no discoverability on Twitch because there's no algorithm. And it's like, do you even know what an algorithm is? Do you know what, like, are you just repeating those phrases? Obviously there is discoverability on Twitch because you can click on the main page and it'll bring up streamers that you've never seen before. And there are streamers that get promoted. It's just it's done in a lot more of a like the carousel at the top. That's all manually picked. That's not from an algorithm. That's something you apply to be on, and then they accept you or they don't accept you. So that's a specific thing that you can get discovered from. But it's not like on YouTube where, you know, it's suggested and it's done based on viewer habits. It's a lot harder to do that with live streams, which is why it doesn't happen as much. But there are still ways of getting natively discovered on Twitch, and they're implementing more and more, but it's not the same as something like YouTube or TikTok, where that has a vested interest in putting new and popular videos in front of people's eyes. When it comes to live streams, I think it's probably harder to do that. And if they did that, and if they promoted the people that sit there in their room with a camera that's not well lit playing Fortnite and not talking to their chat, they'd probably find that a lot less people would come on to Twitch.
That's
so
epic
they
content
also
creation,
have a
though. That is
that
epic
pardon?
content. That is epic content. Don't ever do
It
that.
is.
Kind of
Sorry, mate. I know it's content. I know it's not just streaming
It-
video games on the internet with no lights on.
It's epic content.
Yeah.
Epic.
Mhm.
Because fuck.
Yeah.
I think really, sort of in conclusion, my kind of take on it is essentially like I think you should stream because you find it fun.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And the things that you do surrounding streams, you should also find fun. And if you don't find it fun, don't bloody do it. There's no point. That's it, really.
Consider yourself Chattisfied.